Welcome.
What's up?
Okay. So, how did you find Graal? And when did you start playing?
Honestly, how I found Graal was I had like an old iPod at the time. This was like probably 2010, and I was just searching for online MMOs on the App Store and just scrolling. And then I came across Graal. So I downloaded it, but the cool thing is I had no clue what the hell I was doing. So what I did is just running around, like there was no noob island, there was nothing. They literally just threw you in the middle of Graal and they said have fun, essentially. So what happened was I think I walked over to the old mod tower, and then what's his name? Pulse recruited me at the time, and that's when they taught me the game and I learned it from there.
Did you experience any changes after your first year of playing?
Changes. I felt like every couple of months there was changes, man. Shit. So when I started, January 2010 actually. So like a little after it was released. I started when guilds first came out, like right away, like the month of guilds, I started then. Fuck, there was no Snowtown, there was no York, there was nothing. It was Mod, Castle, and I think Sarden. And that was it. I don't even think Swamp was around at the time. Oh, I remember the release of, I think it was called Revolution, was that like club thing. It was one of the coolest things they've ever started. It was like a limited run, I think on the weekends only. It would open Friday through Sunday for like a specific time, and they would only sell like a specific item there, and you can only get it at that time. I honestly love that concept, and I don't even think they do it anymore, to be honest, but I don't know. I don't play. But it was Nexus, and I think what was that other one called? The other, like, same thing as Nexus, but on the other side? It was Revolution. Okay, so I didn't, that name just sounded weird to me, but yeah. And then the mounts, I actually have a lot of the old ones too, but I love the mounts because it was a new way of essentially farming for money, but it was also a new way to move around the map a little bit faster. The big changes that I remember was a lot of hacking was happening at the time during the game. A lot of like God mode players, a lot of people jumping into the towers. I remember them changing mod and not letting you go around it and putting trees essentially, so you couldn't go around the side of it, only from the front.
Do you own any items with crazy histories or backstories? If so, then could you share a story?
I don't know about an awesome backstory, to be honest, but I have, trying to think. Oh, actually, I do have one. I have the UFO morph. So that is my favorite. Yeah, I think only like 50 or less people got that morph, and it was only during like this one time frame of like 2 to 3 months of hide and seek, and there was 4 colors they were giving out. And I still remember I told myself I want the green one. I want the green one. The day I was playing hide and seek, I forgot who I found though, and it was like these used to be the best days when they used to have random hide and seek, and the admins used to just randomly hide. When he found them and he told me I got the green one, it was probably one of the happiest days when I was like, yes, because honestly, if the UFO, if it was $100 on the shop, I would have probably bought it. To be honest, that is one of my favorite morphs I have ever gotten, and I only use that one because till this day, people ask me questions. They message me if I'm on and I'm using it. They're like, how do you have that? What is that? I've never seen that. It's like a conversation piece for the game. It's cool, and it's nice to have. I remember the Deadwood Maze, too. That was one of my... I have the green skeleton. One of my favorite. I didn't want the red one. The red one was ugly to me. But that was my favorite fort, and I was part of Chain of Memories, man, back then, when they used to... my friend, I started, I helped Drew start Venus Gospel back then. And then Project Soul, and then, like, I was part of Pulse, Chain of Memories. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I've been part of, like, every single major guild. So my clan used to be the one where I would go on for one day, recruit everybody I knew. We would take a fort over for about a weekend, and that was it. And the whole point of my guild was just to have fun, and it wasn't about towering. But what we would do also is if a guild asked us to essentially just take the tower, we would go and just take the tower and then give it to another guild. My name used to be Walmart Smiley Dan, and then I took the Smiley part out and just left it at Walmart Dan.
Are there any items that you regret not buying from the past? If so, then what were they?
Yeah, the thing is, I have a lot of the classic, and so I had the masks before they actually got released. The iPanda, who actually created the Anbu masks first, he gave me them about 6 months before they were released. And so I have a lot of the classic ones too. But yeah, masks and hat essentially started right when I started. They were super expensive back then too. I remember like hats and everything being up to like 10 to 50,000 like coins. It was insane, growlets. Bro, I think I spent at least the first couple of years a couple $1,000s just on stupid stuff. Like I was buying, my whole point of I was trying to get every single, at the time I was trying to have a collection of almost all the hats when they were first coming out. So you'll see I have like on my account hats of every color, every style, but then I just couldn't afford it. I was like, this is stupid on a game that is like, it's a game and I'm spending too much at the time, but I was young. I have all like the VIPs, like the first 12 months of those too, like the very first one for the first 12 months. I have a lot of Guild 1K stuff. I have a lot of stuff that were also sold like one time because they have some styles that I still see to this day that I'm like, I wish I bought that. But to be honest, back then, man, if I wanted it, I would have bought it. That's the thing. I don't regret missing. I do regret one thing though, and it's not buying. So I right now have the longest Graal railroad track in a guild house. It goes through every single room outside the borders, and it goes through the spar room. But the first one I ever made was perfect. I've made it 4 other times after, and it's never ever been as good as the first one I made. That is one of my biggest regrets, was deleting it.
In what year did you feel as if the good times were gone and Graal was no longer the same game as you remember, and why?
I would say more like 2016 too. It became more boring when they were taking towers down. That's when they started taking towers down. Honestly, the good times left once they destroyed towering with the 1K hat, because people had something to go for, and it was always the #1 title, and you would always have the whole forever of Graal. You would see #1, you would see #2, and the whole point is Chain of Memories had the longest time for a tower, and that was such a legendary status that from them just ruining the whole like scoring system and making it monthly, weekly, whatever the hell it is now, everything, it's garbage now. And also when they changed sparring used to be so fun back then. Like you would go into like the spars and there would be like hundreds of people just talking, chatting, chilling there. But now if you go to spar, it's an empty, dead area. No one, like, it's just, I feel like Graal now isn't the same because first off, they made it harder to tower. There's no, like, guilds the same way. Now it's like, oh, you can have 50 people. Back then it was 25 main members, and you have sub guilds that you'd have to work harder to hold a fort with because those ones would get booted outside. And the Graal was more, I feel like, of a family and a community where everybody knew everybody. I just don't like the 50 guild members. It's just, and then you don't have like a lot of like what's it called? What was it called? Not partnership, but allies. It's not, back then you used to have like you could have up to like, it used to be like 200 people online at once, and it would be a big group chat. It was fun. I feel like every guild now is just a couple people online, and unless you're towering, but it's just not the same. And then remember Capture the Flag? That was fun. That was one of my favorites. They bring it back, and it's like, oh, you lost the touch when you remove it. I'm so mad that they haven't opened up like on the left side of Swamp. I remember we used to be able to glitch jump that, and there used to be so much more stuff, like boats over there, above. I'm like, they have all these resources purely made for over 10 years. I'm surprised they haven't used them yet.
If you could go back in time, then what would you change?
What would I change? For like, honestly, bring the towers back and bring the areas they took back. Like I didn't understand why they took places from us and why they changed classic towers that have been there for years on years just so they can make it harder to tower. Like I get you want to change the fundamentals of the game and you want to change the reward system, but why take something that people have been loving for years and making it worse? Like man, I used to love doing New York. I used to love doing Deadwood, Swamp Town. Mod, where it used to be, was amazing. Castle used to be amazing. They changed them all to be like, it's Graal, I feel like now it's just a marketplace. Like, oh, here's your cosmetics. That's it. When it used to be a community. Honestly, back then it was more a community. Like, see, mounts and morphs back then were okay. That's why. Like, the dragon morphs were cool and all that, but hats were the biggest thing when I played. That's why. And then morphs became in mounts, but now it's mounts, morphs. Like, there's tons of different ones. But back then, man, if you had a hat that no one had, that was the thing. Now it's mounts and morphs, and hats are like thousands and thousands. Like, there's so many out now that it's hard to even keep track. I miss, like, the hour areas being popular. Remember, like, 100 hours, 300,000 hours, where, like, you would find people there. But now, again, people have so many hours on this game that those became irrelevant. Which, back then, it was crazy to see someone with 1,000 or 2,000 hours. You'd be like, wow, you play a lot. Now it's like people have so much hours on their account that it's like, okay, it's like there's no point of those rooms anymore, or those secret places. Oh, bring back the honor system. As much as it was a scummy thing, it was a fun system to mess around with, to be honest. But, like, they could have implemented it a little bit better. Like, hey, you can't honor someone until you have 100 hours into the game. But it was a cool concept of rewarding people that you cherish or you look up to in the game. And it had, like, specific hats that were, like, really hard to get all of them. So you really had to work yourself in the community.
What motivates you to keep playing Graal?
Yeah, honestly, like I told you, I only play, like, I go on maybe every 6 months to a year. I check it, I message a couple of people that still play just to see how they're doing, check up. But honestly, right now, I don't see anything that motivates people to play other than friends. Like, there's nothing in this game I see that makes you want to play. Like, towering, it's okay. Like, it's not like it used to be. Sparring again. But if you have a good group of friends that you want to chat with, and this is a great, like, I would say, format to chat on, then Graal is the place to be. But the problem with me is, since we're such old players, a lot of our old friends are gone. Like, they're gone. They're never going to come back to this game. And that's the stuff that I miss. A lot of the people we used to play with, the memories we made, and everybody's just done with the game. I keep in contact with a couple of people on the game and even outside the game, like, just from years, just because we made such a good friendship on it.
How do you view the game today? What recent changes do you like or dislike? And why?
I view the game, honestly, now, it's more of an international game. I don't view it as, like, big in North America as it used to be. And I see more of a lot of international people, which is not a bad thing because we always had that. But the thing is, I don't see a lot of the North Americans play. And that's how I see the game right now, is it's not a North American-based game anymore. It's shifting to international. And also, the problem with that is the hours that the North American people like me and some other people want to play, there's never anybody that we know online anymore. The recent changes that I like are the expansion of Below Swamp. I don't know what it's called, but I love new places when they added them. That was always a thing that was the best for me. I missed the scavenger hunt that went nowhere when you got a scarf and that was it. That was funny. What do I dislike? I probably already said this 100 times. The tower system, the guild system. Honestly, everything that changed when I think Euro Center sold the game to Toon Labs or whatever it was. I think once they sold it, the new owners of the game, everything they've done to it, I don't agree with.
What items would you want to see in the nearby future?
Bring the boats that we saw 10 years ago. I want the boats. They were planning boat races. I really wanted to see that. There was like a little area on like the left side of Swamp where they had boat races, and the actual NPC you could talk to when you jumped over like the wall back then. And he told you, oh yeah, the boat races, I can't wait for the boat races. And you would see the area for the boat races, but they never brought them. One thing I'm happy they brought, though, were the boots, like the speed boots and reverse, whatever. Those we saw 10 years ago, and I'm surprised they actually brought them out.
Well, that concludes the ending of this interview. Thanks for joining, and good night.
Oh, okay, yeah, no problem.